Ain't that a bitch? All right, that ain't gonna work. All right. Is there any way I can be able to see that screen that she's showing, or what? If not, I'll just have to use my cell phone.
This is Channing. Humphrey with Semi-Pro Live. Yes, hardest working man in youth sports today. We're back on live again. New subject, new theme. We're back with my guy, Courtney Jackson, head coach of DEA, and also the founder and I'll say president CEO of CCE. So I'm going to bring in Courtney. We're going to talk a little bit of 9U football. We're going to get right into the draft. So, Courtney, man, tell us a little bit about this 9U unit and what do we have to expect from them?
Well, this is gonna be fun. This is a group of kids, man, that I've been able to probably have for, I would say now this should be their third All-Star opportunity, and some of these kids are already household names. You know, some of these kids have won national titles, and you're going to hear a couple different teams from across the South area that are big time, that have a lot of kids in it. You're going to hear TNS a lot. You're going to hear ABN Crew a lot. You're going to hear DFW Elite a lot. Those teams resonate across the board with having a lot of talented kids in this 9U division. Those three teams. RCU is another one. Along with some Sun Devil kids in other places as well. But those three are big time. They maybe have 50 kids altogether out of those three teams involved and invited.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll get right to it. And I have to compliment you on that. You handled that ABN/crew thing very lawyerly. I just stay away from it. It's a little bit too hot for me. All
Yeah.
right, well, let's go ahead and get to the action. CCE 9U, we're going to start off with team power. So our coaches is going to be the man you all know and love, Zimmy Daniels from the TNS Cougars. Hashtag Team No Soft, and we're going to have Coach TJ. So tell us about these two coaches.
Well, you got TJ Mosley and Zimmy Daniels. Zimmy Daniels, that's the big brother, man. I got all the respect for him. And I love what he's doing with that TNS organization. They were able to come out with us, DEA and Pac Prime and the Northside Savages and Crew. We all invaded California and kicked a lot of butt out there. And I was able to see that team up close, and I knew they were coming. I know what Zimmy has done. If you give him a year of what it is to be down for a year, the next year he's coming back right. If he has a year to be able to see what he needs to assemble to make that engine and make that car run like it's supposed to run, he's going to go back, he's going to get it, and then he'll be right back to where he normally is, and that's on top winning. And then you have Coach TJ. Those two last year, everybody else who lost, we try to break them up, and you got to do it again. You got to try to get it right because you haven't won. But TJ and Zimmy, they won. So we kept them together. Coach TJ coaches one of the most renowned Oak Cliff teams, Dallas teams around, the Oak Cliff Titans. You know about them and Coach Bobby and everybody else. TJ, man, TJ, this is going to be TJ's third year doing it. I can tell you this now, man, I appreciate him. He has attention to detail. He really cares about the situation and the kids. And you could tell that team looked like a regular season team within 3 days. within 3 days is like a regular season team. So I think they had a dang good draft, and I think they're going to be excited about the players they're going to have. So let's roll it on out.
All right, let's get straight to the business. We're going to start off with the quarterbacks. Once again, like all the other drafts, these picks are in no particular order. They're not assessed by value. They're just randomized from the spreadsheet, and they're grouped by position. So the first random pick will be Jacob Sellers, quarterback from SED. Then we're going to have Drayon Ville, quarterback from TNS. Aaron Worlds, defensive tackle, offensive lineman, TNS. Dwayne Hall III, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, TNS. We're going to have Rene Ramirez, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, Elite Frog Unit. Aidan Cervantes, he's an offensive defensive lineman from the El Paso Sharks. Noah Brewer, offensive defensive lineman, ABN/crew. Rashad Johnson, O-line, D-line, Oak Cliff Titans. Emmanuel Davis Jr., he is a linebacker, ABN/crew. Christian Dodd, linebacker, Oak Cliff Titans. Brian Williams, running back and linebacker from TNS. Javante Morris, running back, linebacker, Oklahoma Truth. Breex Hudson, running back, defensive back, Pearland Hurricanes. And Rayton Walmack, running back, middle linebacker from Hallmark. Isaiah Rivera, wide receiver, DB, TNS. Darius Williams, wide receiver, DB, Northside Savage. Ryan Torres, wide receiver, DB, Sugarland Cowboys. Aiden Kane, wide receiver, DB, North Texas Bills. Nestor, and Coach, help me out with that last name. It's Zarazoa. Nestor Zarazoa, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, Slidell, Louisiana. Richard Munoz, Richard Munoz. Sorry about that, Munoz. He's an offensive defensive lineman from Houston. Ja'Carey Beasley, he's an offensive defensive lineman from the Cedar Crest Comets. CC Comets. Camden Washington, a linebacker from Pac Prime. Dylan Brown, linebacker, Oak Cliff Titans. Sean Lawson Jr., he's a running back from Dallas. And Marquez Hooks, a scat back from the Oklahoma City Truth. So, Coach, what do you have to say about this unit?
It's a dang good draft, man. It's a dang good draft. And, they came out with some home love. You got two quarterbacks. Jacob Sellers used to be with DFW Lee. Now he's with SED. He throws dimes. He's not the biggest quarterback, but he's very, very accurate, and he throws with a lot of anticipation, which I like. And, man, these kids are young, man, but they're getting that training and they're getting on point. Then you got Drayon Ville, man. He knows the offense. He's a magician with the ball in his hands. He's going to be the coach on the field for Coach Zimmy. And then you go with the two big boys, D lineman, O lineman, Aaron Worlds, who's big as the world. Then you have Dwayne Hall, who is right there with him. Then you have Rene Ramirez, who is somebody who can open up holes versus anybody from EFU. Aidan Cervantes is a lineman that many people don't know about out of El Paso Sharks. I found this kid. This kid's going to be a good player. Then you got Noah Brewer, somebody everybody knows from Crew. Rashad Johnson, another big lineman from OC Titans. So, TJ's getting him a couple players from his team in there. And then you got ABN linebacker Emmanuel Davis, tackling machine. Christian Dodd, another kid who likes to put his hat on the ball. And then you got the sensational Brian Williams from TNS, arguably the best kid in all the 9U. Arguably. Giovanni Morris, Oklahoma City Truth, bad boy. Bad boy. Bo Hudson from Pearland. He can get lost in public. He can get lost, meaning he can get gone very, 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 very quick. He can get gone very, very quick. And then you have Rayshawn Womack, going back to Jimmy's Roots over that Hallmark. He went and got him a Hallmark boy. And then one of the steals the offseason was being able to get this young man, Isaiah Rivera, from the crew before this season started and getting him onto their roster. He's a dynamic player that you can give a reverse to 2 or 3 times a game, and he can make house calls better than a nurse can. Um, Ryan Torres is another kid who's a sure catcher. Aiden King is another sure catcher that you have. Darius Williams, I like him a lot with the Savages. Richard Munoz opens holes. Jakari Beasley is a tough kid from the Cedar Crest Comets. Then you got Cameron Washington. I'm hoping I can get him out there. Dalen Brown is the little brother of the Corey and Moore. He has it. He's getting it out
Oh,
of the
okay.
Oak Cliff Titans. Then you got Sean Lawson, a running back, plays hooks, scat back, a kid who you could throw bubble screens to, a kid who you can have in the kickoff return game, and you can even get the ball to a couple times, and he can, get skinny and fit through keyholes. That is his team. They are versatile. They won with the linemen that they drafted.
All right. Well, that's a strong draft, and we'll keep it moving. So we're done with Team Power. We're going to move on to Team Grind. So we're going to go ahead and introduce you to the coaches. So we have Coach DeAndre Nibbett, Marvin Green, and Coach Ike. So, Coach, tell us about this coaching staff.
Well, Gorilla Ike, man, is a guy who he's somewhat of a guru. He's smart. He got DEA ranked the top team in Texas and the area, so he's definitely smart. But no, Ike is come up, man. I've seen him come up the ranks in coaching, starting off with a 7-8 U team with the Seminoles with my boy Ike, and they moved not Ike, but my boy he and Ike together. They created that opportunity out there with the Seminoles. And so Rock and Ike. And so his son is now getting ready to age out. And I asked him to come down on the 9U level and kind of start it over again, working with this group. You got Marvin Green out of Fort Worth, and then you got DeAndre Nibbett. These three guys, you probably never would have saw them all in the same room together. But I can promise you that's going to be a well-rounded coaching staff. One is going to be all of them know football, but then they're also going to be able to bring different aspects of the football game in order to create a good coaching staff. So I'm excited about this team, and Team Grind will be wearing all red representing the University of Houston, the Cougars.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get straight to it. So we'll start off no particular order. Terry Woodward, the third quarterback, DFW Elite. Sawan Matthews, quarterback, Lake Worth. Dominic Velasquez, offensive lineman, TNS. Jaden Winston, offensive lineman, SED. Emmett Garcia, center, Pearland Hurricanes. Gerald Prosper,
You skipped Elijah Jones. You skipped Elijah Jones.
Elijah Jones. Oh, so sorry about that. Elijah Jones, defensive lineman from Houston. See where I'm at. Trey Taylor, offensive lineman, Burleson Raiders. Dimitri Stanton, he's a linebacker from Houston. We'll have Johnson, a linebacker from the Fort Worth Tigers. Chris Tuda Monroe, running back from Georgia, ABN/Crew. We'll have Raymond Weathered III. He's a running back/DB from Arlington, Texas. Tyler Delaney, he's a running back from Hallmark. We'll have Jet Dorsey from Cypress. I have Jet Dorsey, he's a running back from Cypress. Sean Brown Jr., a wide receiver from Pac Prime. We'll have Asen, and Coach, help me out with that last name. For Asen. Malvo, he's a DB
Asa
from
Malvo.
Shadow Creek, and that's a good program down there in the Houston area. We'll have Benefield II. He's a cornerback from Texas. And then we'll have Zylan Menez. He's a slot from the DFW Elite. Jaden Hawaii Daniel. He's an defensive lineman from the Sting Academy in Louisiana. We'll have Jamaica Lawrence. He's a offensive/defensive lineman from Dallas, Texas. Alfred Spurlock, he's a offense and defensive lineman from the GC Seahawks. We'll have Angelique Gonzalez, a offensive lineman from ABN/the Crew. We'll have Kenny Mack, a middle linebacker from Vegas Strong. We'll have Ahmed, help me out with that last name, Coach. Ahmed.
My Prejean.
All right, and he's a linebacker from San Antonio. We'll have Chase Easter Stevens. He's a running back from the DeSoto Havoc. Calvin Young, a scat back from the New Orleans Dolphins. And Tyler Utley, he's a offensive lineman from Shadow Creek, another one of those. Utley, excuse me. Correction. We'll have Tyler Utley, an offensive lineman from that Shadow Creek program. So tell us about this kids that were selected to this team, Coach.
You got two quarterbacks. You got Terry Wood at the third, and you got Sawan Matthews. They come from different type of leagues, but both of them bring something dynamic to the game. Terry Woodward the third is probably one of your best bootleg quarterbacks because he can stretch the pocket like a Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson, and then he can make that throw going off his left shoulder or going to his strong arm with his strong arm being downhill. He can make either throw. In there to it. I really like him when he moves the pocket, and Tiger uses him that way. Sawan Matthews is another accurate quarterback, field general type kid. And then they went and got a TNS, Vasquez is a big wall. Elijah Jones is another big kid. Jaden Winston is probably the best lineman on the SCD. And then Emmett Garcia, I'm hoping we can get him from Pearland Hurricanes. And then I like Gerald Prosper a whole bunch. And then Trey Taylor. Jamari Stanton is somebody who you need on the defense. He sets the tone. Ian Silas Johnson will set the tone. That's Fort Worth and Houston working together at your linebacker spots. Then your running back spots. It's very, very good that they get Tuda Marino. He came last year from Georgia. He's one of the most recognizable kids you're going to run across on the 9U level with his Instagram and his following. What I like about him is much more than just being an Instagram guy and everybody knowing. By the time people leave, they leave with a respect of his game. And not just his name. Raymond Weathered the third is a corner turner, and when he runs, he kicks up dirt and he leaves fire on the street. That's how fast he is. Tyler Delaney is a power back, a good size back, and then you got Jet Dorsey who can get north and south and can get lost. Like I said before, in space he can get lost. Sean Brown is a receiver that you got to be able to pay attention to. Asen Malvo is a lockdown corner along with Jahari Benefield. I like how they went corner, came back with Zaylon Menez, probably one of the better route runners. This kid is somebody, he is like Houdini in and out of breaks. Doesn't have any wasted movement. Jaden Hawaii Daniel was a late add-on to CCE's draft inventory, but he made it in time from Sting Academy. Jamaica Lawrence is a huge kid who has huge hands and has a huge upside. Alfred Spurlock, same way. Angelina Gonzalez played last year. Hopefully have her back. Kenny Mack is somebody who will smack you across the mouth every time you come across his area. Ahmad Prejean is probably one of the more athletic linebackers. And then you got Chase Easter Stevens. He's with Havoc. I think that, with him, you hope he can come. That there a lot of people are talking about doing the other thing in Georgia. So maybe he's a kid who you don't know, but you definitely wish you can have him. Calvin Young from the New Orleans Dolphins is a steal. He is somebody who you have to pay attention. I circle him on the board if I'm coaching against him. And then Tyler Utley from Shadow Creek. You got two Shadow Creek kids on there together. That's always a good feel when they kind of know somebody common with them that they've gone to war with for months ahead of time. That is a good draft. Especially knowing that those guys will get the best out of those kids. They're going to get the best out of them. That's a versatile group. And I think it's a lot of – if I think that I'm the coordinator for this team, I can see them running spread. They're going to try to put you in space and put you in the blender. They got a lot of kids that can have you in the hospital with ankle injuries. A lot of them.
And that's what I like about CCE is that you're going to have different offenses, different style of coaching. It's not just going to be a vanilla all-star game. But let's go ahead and move on to the
Yeah.
next team. We got Team Hustle. I'm going to introduce you to their coaching staff. You're going to have Coach Tiger, Coach Greg, and Coach Mark Gibson. So, Coach, tell us about this unique staff.
Man, it's two guys out of the DFW area. Coach Tiger uh, it came in second place last year. Every year I ask him to do it. I know he's busy with his business and everything, but he always tries to give back. He has one of the top freshman kids in the country. So a lot of his time is trying to get his son to a higher level, plus coaching his DFW elite team. But I appreciate him, giving back and helping out with CCE. Coach Greg, this will be his first year doing it, and then Coach Mark Gibson is one of the most world-renowned offensive minds that you're going to run across. He's going to have some stuff in. I don't know how he can get it assembled in time, but he can do it. He's that kind of a guy too. So I'm hoping I can be able to get him in because that's going to be a Houston swag with it. And he like I said before, he has a good mind. So this will be a very, very different staff, but it'll be a good staff. Everybody knows football and everybody's won before. That's always good when they've won before.
Most definitely. Well, without further ado, let's get straight to it. We're going to have Jeremiah Boylan. He's the quarterback slash DB from the Katy Chiefs. We're going to have Kobe Jefferson, quarterback, DFW Ravens. Bernard West III, defensive tackle, GMT Jags. We're also going to have Carter DePlacis. He's an offense and defensive lineman from the New Orleans Dolphins. We're going to have Caden Turner, offense and defensive lineman, DFW Elite. We're going to have Brian Alexander. He's a center from the DFW Elite. Then we're going to have Johnson Ambrosia Jr. He's a offense and defensive lineman from the ABN/crew. Roxvana Majors. Did I get that correct, Coach? Is it Roxvana?
Run Xavier.
Time. Okay, Roxavian
Ron
Majors.
Xavier.
Ron Xavian Majors. Sorry about that, coaches. Sorry about that, Ron Xavian. Ron Xavian Majors, offense and defensive lineman from the ABN/crew. We've got Xavier Lewis, a linebacker from TNS out of Fort Worth. Prince Rose, he's a linebacker from the DFW Elite. Jaden Hodges, he's a running back from the Katy Chiefs. We have Memphis Octane Jones. Man, that's an awesome name. From the GTM Jags. Zayden Francis, running back from the ABN/crew. Lewis Brown, scatback from the Pearland Hurricanes. Then we're going to have Marcus McClain Jr., wide receiver / middle linebacker, TNS. Steven Jimenez, a wide receiver / DB from the Elite Frog unit. Jacob Martinez, DB, DFW Elite. Jules Johnson, a wide receiver / cornerback from Houston, Texas. Keaton Perkins, a tight end / defensive lineman from the Pearland Hurricanes. And then we've got Spencer Evans, a offensive lineman / defensive lineman from Grindhouse. Terrence Nelson Jr., an offensive lineman / defensive lineman from the DFW Elite. We've got Messiah Taylor. He's a offensive / defensive lineman from Sting Academy out of Louisiana. Tristan Tipton. He's a linebacker from the DFW Elite. We've got, I believe it's Nico Boyler. He's a running back from the Abilene Bucks out west. Jamori Boylan. He's a running back from the DFW Elite. So, Coach, tell us about this team.
It's a good draft, man. It's a good draft. I can already see and can kind of imagine what Mark would be able to do and Tiger would be able to do, and the coaching staff is going to be able to do with this group of kids in there too. So you started off with Jeremiah Boylan. Jeremiah Boylan holds a special place in my heart because he was the first 6U kid that I ever had playing in CCE. We only had 8U, and he was a 6-year-old out there playing. And
That's
so
what's
for
up.
him to be 9 now, that tells you he's been rocking for a long time, man. So, you know, he's nice. He's nice, man. He's out of Huntsville, but he plays with the Katy Bears. He's nice. You have to, you, he can throw it. He can run it. He can scramble. He can go play defense and make plays. He's a football player that plays quarterback. He's a quarterback that's a football player that can make plays. He's all of that and the chips, the bag, and the chips and the seasoning and everything else with it. Kobe Jefferson is another kid who played last year. He's talented at quarterback, man. I look for him to be back this year and see them two battle it out. Then they start off, man, taking seeing this up here on GTM Jags out of Florida. This will be his third year playing. Bernard West the third. This kid is a typical, atypical SEC type of D lineman, but in a 9-year-old body. Like he's like
Most
that.
definitely.
He's barrel chested. He's athletic. He can move up and down the line. He can pick the lineman up, move him out the way, and then run the ball carrier down. Then you got Carter DePlessis out of New Orleans Dolphins, who's a versatile two-way offensive lineman. Caden Turner and Brian Alexander are two dog players. So look at that cohesiveness that they got right there on the line when you got your center. You got your center. You can create blocking schemes easier that way. Then you go with two ABN players. Run Xavier Major is huge. He's like a wall. And then you got Johnson Ambrose. So junior. So you got two. They drafted 6 really, really good linemen. Really, really good linemen. Then you go to
Most
Xavier
de-
Lewis and Prince Rose. Xavier Lewis and Prince Rose. You go look at DFW League, look at the success they've had. You go look at the success that TNS has had, and I can promise you their linebacking core is not subpar. It is above average, and these two guys are reasons because of that. Then you go into running backs, and they had 4 running backs to get, and these are the running backs they came up with. And I think this may be the best quartet of running backs that you're going to be able to see onto a team. In there to it because they all kind of complement each other. You got Jaden Hodges, nice. He's like a girly. Then you got Memphis Octane Jones. You got somebody who is a scatty and can get going. He's a keyhole guy. Then you have Zayden Francis, who scores a whole bunch of touchdowns for Crew last year, and he could get lost at any given moment. Then you go Lewis Brown with Pearland Hurricane. So you got 3 of them out of Houston, 1 of them out of Florida in that situation to it. Back to tight end. This kid is going to be an NFL prospect, man. You look at his body and you can see how big his dad is, and you can see that the maturation will happen. Good sized kid, athletic kid, can run, got calf muscles bigger than most grown humans, and Marcus McLean Jr. Then you got Stephen Menez, who is another receiver that can get in and out of breaks, runs precise routes. I know quarterbacks like that, and he knows how to get open. Then you got Juelz Johnson out of Houston, and then you got Kingston Perkins. I'm hoping he can play. This kid Perkins is a kid that I saw last year. He's a kid that I was enamored with. Everybody knows his father from being Kendrick Perkins, but I think that this kid, if he sticks with football, has a great chance of being somebody who could be a tight end, O lineman, D lineman. He's going to have the size. He has the natural ability of the long arms of being able to shuck people away. It's just about does he have enough time to put into football and enough passion to play football? O line, D line, Spencer Evans from Grindhouse that gives coach one of his players. Terrence Nelson from DFW League gives more quality. That just helps with that depth on that team with Terrence Nelson Jr. Messiah Taylor is another great lineman from Sting Academy. And then you run into Tristan Tipton, who will knock your block off like his older brother. Nico Bowler is a running back that's versatile from Abilene. And then you got Jamare Bolian from DFW League. He could be a receiver. He is a combo person. He's like a Debo Sam kind of type player. Really good draft.
Okay.
Let's see how they use it. Let's see how they use it. They have enough talent to definitely make it till Monday and be in one of the championship games.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and Keep it going, man. That was a team. This one's gonna be a hard one to beat. Let's see what CCE Team Mamba can do
What we
about
got
it. So
next?
we got Team Mamba of the CCE 9U. We've got the coaching staff is going to be JD Davis, Coach Bino, and Coach Cool. Tell us about this staff.
Oh man, this might be the coolest staff of all of them for sure. For sure. JD Davis is the elder statesman of the group, man. He's probably been coaching football. He probably has more kids he's coached in college than anybody out here. He's probably 20 years into the game. He's a Fort Worth guy that I met. I would say he's somewhat of a legend. He's around football. He knows football and girls basketball at a high level. As JD Davis, he's always supported things that I've tried to do with CCE. So I'm happy to have him coaching. Coach Bino is a Waxahachie kid. If anybody's going to talk SHIED, it's going to be Bino. Bino will talk that, you know what, whether it's on the gram, whether it's on Facebook, he's going to talk it. But the thing I like about him, that was one of the offensive coordinators for DFW Elite 9U last year. He's going to walk it and talk it. He just ain't going to talk it and hide. He's not the one to throw rocks and hide. He's going to throw the rock and say, I did it. And then you got Coach Cool. You got Coach Cool out of New Orleans, man. Coach Cool is with a K. Coach Cool, Mr. Bailey. He has some talented kids, and his son is one of them. He's a quarterback. He's a top 25 quarterback in our CTE magazine that will drop soon. Just give me a little time, folks. Give me a little time. So this is going to be this is a good team. Team Mamba represents TCU. Team Hustle we did a few seconds ago. They represent University of Texas, the Longhorns. So you got the Horned Frogs, and then you got the Longhorns. You got the Cougars, and you got Texas Tech will shoot them, and then you got Giga Aggies. I don't know the other ones, but those are some of the ones I know. Let's hear this draft.
All right, Coach. Well, let's get straight to the business. We'll start off with the quarterback group. This is in no particular order. We'll have Khalil Bailey. He's a quarterback from the New Orleans Dolphins. Christopher Melendez, Smith. He's a quarterback from RCU down in the Houston area. Jaden Williams, a offense and defensive lineman from the AVN/crew. Xavier Ledee, Xavier Ledee, he's an offense and defensive lineman from the Pearland Hurricanes. We have Demetrius Phillips Jr., he's an offense and defensive lineman from Dallas. We got Jalen Caldbill, he's a center from Hallmark. We've got Fabian Donaldson, he's a offense and defensive lineman from RC out of the Houston area as well. We've got Arthur White, he's a offense and defensive lineman out of Hallmark. We have Dorian Green Jr., he's a linebacker from the AVN/crew. We've got Jaden Hendricks, he's a linebacker from the DFW Elite. We've got Jeremiah Reese, he's a running back out of the Houston area from that RCU program. We've got Jaden Jordan, a running back from SED. We have Aiden Robinson Jr. He is a running back / linebacker from the New Orleans Dolphins. And this kid, Kyle Humphrey, must be a dog because he's a Humphrey. He's a running back from the Woodlawn Panthers. We've got Luther Laurel, he's Jr. He's a wide receiver / cornerback from the New Orleans Dolphins. Chile, I don't know why I said Chelly because I just wanted it to rhyme. My apologies, Junior. He's a DB / wide receiver from the AVN/crew. Joshua Steele, he's a wide receiver / cornerback from SED. Cameron Jones, he's a wide receiver / DB from the Lubbock Wildcats. We have Draylen Wright, he's an offense and defensive lineman from the DFW Elite. We've got Aaron, help me pronounce his name, Coach. Bricio. He's Aaron Bricio. He is a offense and defensive lineman from San Antonio. We've got Emilio Villarreal. He's an offense and defensive lineman from Team Elevate out of Kansas City. We have, out of Kansas, not Kansas City, correction. We have Aaron Whitehead. He's an offense and defensive lineman from the Oak Cliff Titans. We've got Zylan Menez, he's a linebacker from the DFW Elite. Jordan Williams, he is a linebacker. Jadarian Williams. He is a linebacker from Houston. And we have Brian Reed. He is a running back from the New Orleans Dolphins. And we have Ira Duckworth Jr. He is a safety from the Ducks. And we have Brock Snyder, who is an offensive lineman from San Antonio, Texas. So, Coach, tell us about this fine group of athletes here.
Khalil Bailey and Christopher Melendez Smith are going to be two quarterbacks, man, they're going to have moxie. They're going to fight to the end. They're going to make plays. They're going to be an extension of a coach on the field. Man, they're talented, and sometimes overlooked. But their talent isn't overlooked. Sometimes they're just overlooked because they really want to make everybody else better. You got Jaden Williams, man, who's if you want to know why teams don't run the ball real well against crew, he's one of the reasons, whether he's on the offensive side of the ball or defensive side of the ball. To me, all those kids at crew can be two-way players in the interior. Xavier Lewis is an athlete playing on the line. Demetrius Phillips is a dog. Jalen Cogbill is one of the best centers I've seen. I saw him play last year against Grindhouse, and I was really, really amazed at how athletic and how talented he was at the center spot, possessing that kind of size. Fabian Donaldson and Arthur White being another hallmark kid on the D-line and O-line, and Fabian Donaldson being somebody, man, who is good size. You gotta deal with him. When you go look at their linebackers, you got Dorian Green Jr., you got Jaden Hendricks. Once again, you see good teams producing a lot of linebackers because a lot of great linebacking play keeps teams from running the ball down your throat. Both of these kids will be great tacklers and be sure tacklers. Then you go to the running backs. Reese, Jeremiah Reese from RCU is arguably the best back in the country. Jaden Jordan from SCD is a bad boy with bad intentions. He's so nice with it. Allen Robinson Jr. is nice, really, really nice with the New Orleans Dolphins. Then you got Kyle Humphrey in there to it. I just hate his last name is Humphrey, but other than that, his kid's talented running back.
He's got to be he must be some kind of great athlete. You got Dre Humphrey, you got this Humphrey, and they just doing big things in youth sports.
Yeah, I just like
no
Dre. I like Dre, and I like Allen better. But then you got Luther Loyal Jr., man, who came out here last year, did his thing, very talented player. Telly Chelly from ABN is a kid who can make tackles, make plays. Joshua Steele from SCD. You see those two. You see how they kind of compare somebody with somebody, so kids feel comfortable in that situation. Cameron Jones is a receiver that you have to watch out for because he can go by you at any minute. The Lubbock Wildcats has good size. Draylon Wright, Aaron Bricio, Emilio Varela, and Aaron Whitehead are four really, really good linemen that's going to make that whole group of linemen be a strong group. I'm hoping that everybody can get signed up. Zayla Menez from DFW Lead is another tackler, and Jadarian Williams from Houston is another kid who tackles the ball everywhere he goes. Then you got the running back who runs really, really hard, and you tandem him in there with running that rock with Ira Duckworth Jr., who's a scat back, Brennan Reed. That's going to be a nice little combination. Then you add one more lineman in there to it, which is Brock Snyder out of San Antonio. This team has enough to win it all. They have it. They have enough to it. And it wouldn't shock me because Coach Cool and everybody on that staff, man, like I said before, they're not – Bino will be the talker, but everybody else will be the people who will be backing up what Bino talks. And Bino won't be hiding. It's going to be an interesting group.
Well, hey, that's an interesting team, man. We got a Coach Cool. We got a kid with the last name Duckworth from a team that's the Ducks, and a Humphrey. They're going to be tough to beat. So let's go ahead and slide over to the next group. Team Money.
That was Mamba from TCU.
Mamba from TCU? Okay. So we're going to Team Mamba from TCU. We're going to slide over to Team Money. So is Team Money? That's going to be Baylor, correct, Coach?
Yeah, Baylor Bears.
With them money green uniforms, gold highlights. And we're going to start off with the coach and staff. So we're going to have Bronche White, and you all know and love him. Coach Walk You Down, Tim Jones. So tell us about this coaching staff. before they walk
Man,
us down.
Tim Jones is, I love his energy. He's gonna
That's
talk
my
that
dog.
talk too. He's gonna talk that talk, man. But I love his energy. He's good for the kids, man, and he's doing his thing out there with the chaps, you know.
Never
And
ran, never will.
yeah, and then you got, oh man, I'm sorry about that. I just read a message in there. Uh, you got Tim Jones and you got Bronche White together. Tim Jones and Bronche White. Bronche White has been with me and rock with me since the very first CCE All Star. He is a military guy who was coming up and down the road from Fort Hood and Killeen on each day at times to come up here for practice, drive back to do training at 6 a.m. and then come back again. So the ultimate respect
Man,
for him and what he's been
well,
able to
thank you.
do
Thank you for your
over the
service.
years to it, and put out that talent for me and help me with doing it. He's coached the kids that are now in 8th and 9th grade. Now they're down. Now he's down here. He did the 8U last year, and now he's doing 9U this year. It's going to be a good group for him. It's going to be a real good group, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm ready for you to read off this group. I think this is a championship team here too.
All right. Well, hey, that's big expectations, especially with all the athletes in this draft. We're going to start off with our first random pick is going to be Bryce Pennington from the quarterback group, ABN/crew. Christian Condon, he's a quarterback from Oklahoma City. Colton Cross, a quarterback from Rockwall. Christian Mose, he's a defensive tackle / offensive lineman from ABN/crew. Devontae, coach, help me out with that last name. Is it
Devontae
Etres?
Etres.
Etres Jr., and he's an offensive defensive lineman from the great state of California. Anthony
Mcclendon.
Mcclendon. I suck today. I'm so sorry. Mcclendon. Anthony Mcclendon the third. He's a defensive lineman from Gainesville, Florida. We'll have Jace Domo Gibson. He's a tight end / defensive end from TNS. Cedric Walker the second from TNS. He's a defensive tackle, offensive lineman. Charles Russell. He's a center from Dallas, Texas. Corey, and coach, help me out with that last name.
Malvo.
Corey Malvo.
Corey Malvo.
Corey Malvo. He's a linebacker from the New Orleans Dolphins. We're going to have Torian George. He is a linebacker from Pac Prime out of Fort Worth. We're going to have Peyton Channing. He's a running back from Louisiana /ABN/crew. And we're going to have Javon Standback. He's a running back from the Fort Worth Chaps. And we're going to have Raylen Cadrus. He's a running back / linebacker from the New Orleans Dolphins. Alfred Collins. He's from Acosta, and he's a running back. I believe, is that Acosta, Florida?
Atascocita out of Texas.
Atascocita, and that's in Texas. Sorry about that. And we have Christopher Booby Martin. He's a wide receiver / DB from TNS. Pharrell Johnson. He is a wide receiver / DB from the New Orleans Dolphins. Trayton Young. He's a wide receiver / DB from Pac Prime out of Fort Worth. Floyd Miles, he's a DB / wide receiver from TNS. We're going to have Corey Hamilton, a offense / defensive lineman from the Fort Worth Chaps. We're also going to have Braden Fuller. He's a defensive end from the Galveston County Sun Devils. We're going to have Brendan Butler. He's a offensive defensive lineman from Houston, Texas. Cedric Blackmore, a offensive defensive lineman from Dallas, Texas. Josiah Brown, he's a linebacker from the DFW Elite. Jamarca Lark, he is a linebacker from the Denton Spartans. Cameron Evans, he is a running back from the DFW Elite. And Carlos DeBose, he is a running back from Dallas, Texas. And Neiman Hall, GOAT Technique, off skills / DB. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away.
All right. Well, Bryce Pennington, man, is championship DNA all through him. I don't know
Most
if he's going to
definitely.
play or not. I don't know. So you see three quarterbacks there because you don't know if he's going to play or not. Christian Condi out of Oklahoma City and Colton Cross don't bring the same kind of game, but they have quarterback leadership and they can throw the ball. Bryce is just more, a little bit more physical and can get out the pocket a little bit more with that. But you have efficiency with the quarterback spot. Then you go with Christian Mose, man, who I think is one of the most dominant D tackles you're going to run across uh, in youth football. I love him because he's one of the kids who embraces. He's like that Max Jones. He's in the Santana Lamberts that you see on different levels. The kids, Caden Carter, the kids who embrace being a defensive lineman. They don't think of anything. The Chase Wilkins and the Tank Wilkins and the King Irvins. Those kids who say I'm a lineman, but I'm sexy. I'm a good sexy. That definitely is Christian Mode. Then you backdoor that with one of California's best and Devontae Etres Jr. And then you go get a pass rushing defensive end from Gainesville, Florida, and Anthony Mcclendon III, who will get to the quarterback. And then on the opposite side of him, you put in Jace Domino Gibson, who is just as good at tight end as he is at defensive end. And now you have a formidable defensive line. That's how I see them drafting. That they went defensive line first, and we can be able to rally. When I say first, I mean I'm looking at it. And then you have Cedric Whitaker, defensive lineman from TNS, who's a nice nose tackle. You got your center Charles Russell. Then you go get the linebacker Corey Malvo and Torian George. Torian George has been a bad boy since flag. He tackles everything that he sees. Corey Malvo is the same into it. Then you get Peyton Channing. Channing. This is a kid out of Louisiana, but Trey Andrews and everybody said if we want to win again in nationals, we got to have him. And they were able to get him. And this kid is talented. He has good size. He is that. He is the guy. Who is the guy? He is that guy. Javon Standback of the Chaps is somebody that I think that everybody should be paying attention to. He's nice. You got Raylen Cadrus from the New Orleans Dolphins, runs hard. Alfred Collins from Atascocita rounds out that backfield. That is a nice backfield set there. I would imagine out of those four backs in our season that's not cut short, it's 160 touchdowns between them four, 130, at the least. Out of those four backs, you got Christopher Booby Martin, made one of the most spectacular catches, has more followers than Jesus, dang near. Um, he can
That's
catch
a
the ball.
bold statement.
He can catch the ball. Terrell Johnson is a two-way player, plays just as good on defense, and the same thing with Trayon Young. Then you have Floyd Miles, who is a DB who will lock that side of the field down, and you got to ask him, can you come out and play? Corey Hamilton is another lineman from Fort Worth Chaps. I like how they paired those two together. You give that a little bit of love. Then you got Braden Fuller. Then you got Brendan Butler. That's the Gulf Coast County Sun Devil. Another kid out of that South Texas area who loves to get to the quarterback. Brendan Butler is a tough offensive lineman. Cedric Blackmore is huge and can open up holes. Two more tackling machines in Josiah Brown and Jeremiah Lark. Then Cameron Evans is probably one of the faster kids that you'll run across. Carlos DeBose is a smooth operator. He reminds me of the running back for the New Orleans Saints. And then you have Neiman Hall. They call him Nemo, one of the smallest kids out there, but plays with one of the biggest hearts. He'll be an offensive skill player, and he'll be a lockdown corner on the other side from GOAT technique.
All right. Now, before I move on, man, is his last name Goat Technique?
No, that's the name of the team, GOAT technique.
Okay, man. Because I was looking at that and I was like, maybe it's a typo. I'm going to say it anyway. All right. Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and move on to the last portion of this age group's draft. So we'll get on down to Team Witness as we all bear witness, Coach. So what university is this team going to be associated with?
Texas A&M Aggies.
Okay, gig 'em, man.
Gig 'em.
So We're going to have some maroon gear that the parents may only wear once until their kid go to college. But we're going to start off with the coaching staff. We've got Coach John Bibbins, Coach Ced, Coach Witten, and Coach Welcome.
Coach Witten Welcome.
Witten Welcome. Okay. I thought the two W's threw me off. It's okay, producer. You did a great job. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this coaching staff.
They've never worked together, but it's going to be a good staff. And that's how it is, man. That's the beauty of it. The coaches get together. They'll start talking, communicating. Most of these guys are head coaches. So when you're a head coach, you have to be able to know both sides of the ball and the third side of the ball, which being special team plus organization. So when you look at it, oftentimes they will split. Hey, I'm going to do offense, you'll do offense, or we'll work on offense together. We'll come up with terminology to it, or I'll have a package, you'll have a package. The defense is pretty much set because it's an all-star. So we tell them what kind of fronts they can run. They run it how it can run, but it's not blitzing in the game until you get into the inside the 5-yard line. Then you can be at a blitz. We want to see what the all-star players can do, not how great of a defensive coordinator you are by calling up all kind of blitzes when kids have only had 48 hours of preparation to get ready for this in there to it. So that is the staff. Coach Witten Welcome is somebody who is eager to get out here on this scene and showcase his talents. Coach Ced is the same way, and then Coach John Ribbons. These are all newbies, first year doing CCE. So it's going to be a good staff. I think it'll be an energetic staff. And they got a dang good draft.
Well, you got diversity, and diversity creates synergy, which creates energy for your business or organization. So you got it going right. So let's get into these picks, man. So we're going to start off with Amari Dixon, quarterback from the dynasty of Kansas City. Isaiah Moldondo, he is a quarterback / DB from the Wiley Bulldogs. We've got King Ratliff. He's in defensive and offensive lineman from Dallas, Texas. Coach, help me out with that first name.
Amirian Ross.
Amirian Ross. He is a offensive defensive lineman from ABN / Crew. We've got Noah Brewer. He's an offensive defensive lineman from ABN / Crew. We've got Elijah Rozier. He's a center from East Texas. We've got Jackson Cole. He's a offense and defensive lineman from Sting Academy out of the great state of Louisiana. Hank Henderson, a offense and defensive lineman from Grindhouse. Erwin Panama, he's a linebacker from the Vegas Strong from Las Vegas. We've got Monticello Thompson. That's the house on the back of the nickel. That's a nice name and great for a jersey. A tight end / outside linebacker from TNS out of Fort Worth, Texas. Help me out with this first name, Coach. From ABN / Crew, we have Orlan Terry. He is a from the DFW Elite. He's a running back / free safety. JC Tucker, he's a running back from the Elite Frog Unit. Antonio Huntsman, Antonio Huntsman Jr., he's a running back / safety from Memphis, Tennessee. We've got Jackson Wilson, he's a wide receiver / DB from the Teeny Titans from Kansas City. Aidan Ward. We have Aidan Ward.
Something happened with the volume.
And we have DB / wide receiver from ABN. Sorry about that, Mom. My mother's calling me right now. I'm going to get to that call as soon as this is over with. We've got Zachary Sizzle James, a scatback / DB from California. We've got Chris Johnson, a wide receiver from the North Texas Bills. We've got Nathan Minja. He's a offensive lineman, defensive lineman from Houston, Texas. And Jordan Cooper, an offensive lineman / defensive lineman from the DFW Elite, along with Price Ritchie, an offensive lineman From the North Texas Bills, Jacob Caprita. He's a offensive lineman from the Sheldon Cowboys. Darrell Jackson Jr. He's a linebacker from the New Orleans Dolphins. Jacoby Welcome. He's a linebacker from the elite Golden Bears. Shout out. Jalen Johnson. He's a running back from RCU out of the Houston area. And we've got Jaden Harrison, wide receiver, DFW Ravens, and Mason George, offensive lineman, Houston, Texas. So, Coach, tell us a little bit more about that group.
Okay. I missed the names on it, but I'm going to go through there. Amari Dixon out of Kansas City. You don't go that far away to go get a quarterback unless the kid can play. He can do it all. Isaiah Maldonado, man, has swag for days. He's not the biggest kid with stature-wise, but he has a huge heart, and he is a playmaker. He is like the Mighty Mouse, man, because he can stop and start faster than anybody, and he throws the ball. He's accurate. He's almost like a shortstop, you know what I mean, like real talk. Like he's accurate. He can turn a double play with the ball as a football player. Then you got King Ratliff, who's huge, dominant, Amirian Ross, ABN, and Noah Brewer, two solid linemen from the ABN crew team. Elisha Rosser out of East Texas is a dang good lineman. And I'm just getting messages running through here left and right. Jackson Cole, Sting Academy, is going to be somebody who's definitely going to make an offensive line better. Hank Henderson is another kid who is technically sound, opens up holes, is a great player. And then you got a really, really good linebacker out of Vegas Strong in Irvin, Panama. He's a kid who plays with a lot of passion and will pop you across the mouth. Monticello Thompson was with DFW Elite, switched teams this year to go over. Was actually with the Bears last year. Started off with DFW Elite and before certification ended up with TNS on that great team that they have. And he's a kid that can spread out wide and run routes, or he can play a tight end and run routes. He's a black Gronkowski, basically.
That's what's up.
And then you run into these running backs. And I said the other group may be the best running back core, but the more I think of it and the more I look at it, it might be 3 or 4 other ones that are arguing with it. But, man, you can't go no further than this name right here. They call him Toon. His name is Cce Lawrence. Lord, please let this boy come. He's special on both sides of the ball. I actually love him more at linebacker because he is so tone-setting with his hits. But he's a bad boy at running back. He's with ABN. Then you got the ultimate turner corner, one of the fastest kids in the world, and Orlan Terry. And he might be the Terry the 3rd or Terry the 19th. I'm not sure. But he's a fast boy. Then you got that kid from EFU who is nice. He can run routes and catch the ball out the backfield and make you miss in the hole, J.C. Tucker. Then you go to Memphis and go get one of the best running backs in all of Tennessee, Antonio Hussman Jr. That's a nice 4. Jackson Wilson. You run into a combination of having the quarterback and the receiver having that connection coming from Kansas. That's that ESP that people don't realize sometimes. They'll be able to have that. I would hate to be the corner having to guard that situation. Then you got Aidan Ward. Everybody knows about Aidan Ward. He's a two-way player, makes things happen all the time. Zachary Sizzle James was with TNS. He's a California kid. He's back on the West Coast. If he could come this year, man, he's going to be sweeter than sweet. And his feet are nice. Nice. Chris Johnson is a possession receiver. He can make some plays with the NTX Bills. He's a son of a coach, so you know he knows the game. Nathan Minja, Jordan Cooper, Jace Ritchie, all linemen from DFW Elite, Houston and North Texas Bills, along with Jacob Sapeta. Round out that lineman core with Mason George out of Houston. That's going to be a good lineman core. Then you go back and you have a couple more running backs, Jaden Harrison, Braylon Johnson, and then the 2 tacklers, Jacoby Welcome and Darrell Jackson Jr. You're talking about tough nose, smart football players who will probably be able to weed out plays before they even happen because of their intelligence, their high football IQ. This is a good draft. This is a good team. These guys will have them energetic, and it's going to be interesting, man.
Excuse me.
Like, some people see certain names and say, "Oh, this is the team. This is it. This is it." And I look at it from a standpoint of saying, "Man, it's chemistry. It's
Yes.
a little bit of chip on your shoulder that means something, and then it's how do you get those kids to all buy in for one goal, one team, one dream to get that second ring. One team, one dream to get the second ring. That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. It can't be a bunch of individuals. A bunch of individuals won't win it.
Well, most definitely, man. You definitely put together some awesome teams. Looking forward to this event. But that will conclude the 9U draft. If we've missed any names, we'll get those updated towards the other drafts. Be on the lookout. Later on this week, we'll be finishing up the rest of the drafts on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have announcements coming up. Coach, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
We have it. We have a draft tomorrow, right?
Draft tomorrow.
Draft tomorrow.
At 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, 2026. I'm sorry, you guys. I know I told you guys 2026 will be tomorrow. We'll have 2020 today. We'll have 2026 tomorrow at 3 p.m. And then on Thursday, we'll have 2 drafts. We'll have the 8U draft and the 7U draft, leaving us with only 1 draft left, and that'll be 6U. Okay? So y'all bear with us. If you looking to still get in this game, you need to hit me up 214-682-7800, or you can hit me up on catchcoverelite.com, or you can hit me up on CCE Texas Courtney Jackson on Facebook. Message me, send me film. We want the best of the best to be here. CCE is the place where the elite come to compete. I appreciate you, Channing, for having me on again, and I can't wait to see to reveal this draft for the 2026 people. Because a lot of these kids are going to have offers, man, in the next 6 months. I can promise you that. It's a talented group.
Most definitely. Now, before I go, I have a last minute announcement. Of course, we will be doing Wednesday Night Lights tomorrow, live from DeSoto, Texas. But new on the docket this weekend, for the first time ever, we're going to have a Baby Gronk sighting. So we're going to have a live stream games on Semi-Pro Live of Baby Gronk and his East Plano Baby Gronk and his Dallas Dogs going head-to-head against the East Plano Falcons live right here on Semi-Pro Live. So he's a very controversial character. Some people that say he can't ball, they want to see it in person. So this won't be a highlight tape. This will be a live game. So tune in. See for yourself, and tune in for the CCE Draft. We'll see you guys next time on Semi-Pro Live.